Hello. Um, Welcome to the Work on Work workshop. Lots of work going on there. My name is Steph, and I have been facilitating this work with people since 2012 when I went to the School for the Work in Germany, on a 10-day intensive to learn to facilitate and to dive deeper into the process myself. And I have been um, holding the space and working with professionals in the veterinary field and in other fields since 2020. And yeah, the clients that I've been having, they will say things like, I just wish everyone had this tool. And honestly, I came further with this work than with the therapist I had. And many of my clients keep coming back. They come back for more clarity and more freedom and for more appreciation for themselves. Like what Tiffany is saying, and her review is up on LinkedIn, so you can check it out. This has opened up a new way of processing and relating, of fostering authentic connection and a deep sense of self-worth. But I wasn't making enough money. So last year we had some, financial big expenses, the famous unexpected big expenses, and I wasn't making enough money to cover it. And so I also had to take up a job. And so I ended up working in corporate environment to earn more money. And now I really, really see that the work that I do is essential. Like we need all hands on deck to improve our work environments, to be places where people are valued and respected and supported. Places where people and animals come first, not money and bureaucracy come first. And I do this process regularly. Every time I get triggered by something or someone, I use it and I get results. I get people telling me that they appreciate me, that they never thought about something in quite that same way before, that they really like working with me, and that I'm coming across as someone who's, awake, not like woke awake, but just there, energetic, alive, present with them. Mm. So challenges in working environments, we all have those, and we know we're meant to respond in certain ways, right? Um, Lots of workshops on how meant to. And so we're meant to be calm and professional, right? Friendly, open, understanding, caring, compassionate, right? hmm And we should be clear in our communications, and we should be boundaried for our well-being. And a lot of the time we manage. We're doing quite well with all of those things, until we enter a toxic environment or until we're triggered by something, some situation, some person. And when we're triggered, instead of calm, we're either scared or angry. So we'll avoid the situation or we'll show aggression. And then in that moment, we still have the professional veneer and we hang on to it with our nails, right? We're fighting to not let the mask slip. And we might even use that professional demeanor like a weapon. And instead of friendly and open and understanding, what happens is that our hearts and our minds close down to protect ourselves. It happens so quickly. We don't really have control over it. And so in that moment, instead of clear, we become closed. Clear communication stops, and we might be repeating ourselves. We might struggle to find the words we want to say. We might hear ourselves say things we didn't mean, or we thought we didn't mean. And, and instead of boundary, we become really involved, intensely involved in what the other person should be doing and thinking and saying, right? And, for most of us, situations like that don't happen on a daily basis. But since this human mind exhibits an interesting addiction to pain and suffering, we tend to think about those situations ad nauseum. For hours, for days, for weeks, sometimes for years, these situations come back up. And so we just try and let it go. Or, forgive and forget. And we tell ourselves that you should have known better, you should have done better. Or it's not your fault, it's their fault. So we get stuck. There aren't many teachings out there, many ways out there that will really teach you how to respond differently, how to access your intuitive wisdom as a social animal on how to do it better. And the process of the work of Byron Katie is a really counterintuitive approach because it focuses on our petty and negative judgments of others. And so the work guides us to take 4 steps that empower us and that will allow for some real change to happen. It guides us to understand, to have compassion, to heal, and to develop clarity. So understanding, compassion, healing, clarity. Understanding. The work invites us to focus on that situation and really reassess what happened. And so what happens is that we understand our part and we also understand that other person better. And that understanding creates empathy, and it creates a deep and lasting compassion for ourselves. And this compassion is the first ingredient we need for healing old wounds, often wounds that are, from childhood. There are even sometimes ancestral, taken from our parents and our grandparents. Many years ago in one of Katie's workshops, a lady shared that what she was really struggling with was, the wrongs that had been done to Jews during the Holocaust. And she wasn't even Jewish, but that was her biggest terror, her biggest struggle in life. And so she used the work on those things, on those images and thoughts and the pain that was causing her. And so it's not always these things do come down to us through the generations. And so the work gives you a tool you can use to heal. And not like, this generalized healing of letting it go and forgetting and forgiving and, loving yourself and loving others kind of attempt. Like, I know I should, but, how easy is it when things go wrong? And when our emotions come from positive to negative. This is focused on exactly that one situation, that one wound. And so it fits you perfectly. And in that perfect fit and focused present approach, it's immensely powerful. And so as we move forward through that healing with that, just so often people just feel lighter and more open. And so in that healing, we discover clarity on how to move forward, clarity on how to break the old patterns and to really grow towards our best selves. Pat Ogden, a psychoanalyst, she's the author of several books and she lectures. And so I've watched one of her lectures recently. And she was speaking on principles of mindfulness in psychoanalysis. And so she says that, it's imperative for healing to allow every person their own tempo and their own depth of insight, and to create a container that makes it safe for that person to explore what they can and want to explore. And so for her, therapy is governed by 5 principles: by the principle of unity, by nonviolence, by changeability, mindfulness, and by presence. And so this process of the work gives you that safe container, the safe container that enables you to see your connection with others, to see that you truly belong to this human race, and so do they, to the humanity and to the world, to Earth. And then with the depth of that connection, nonviolence becomes a no-brainer, right? Like, we don't hurt those that we belong to when we're aware of that, when we're not triggered. And changeability is the awareness that all things change. We are in a constant state of flux. This is life. Life moves and moves forward consistently. And part of this principle is the awareness that change happens always in the best possible way for evolution. And that is the way that this is happening right now. There could not have been a better way than what is happening right now. And so that is really deep knowledge. And once you truly grasp that, then it allows you to drop a ton of judgment on people, and a good many expectations of how the world should be different. And so the work is a training also in mindfulness. The work of Byron Katie is a training in mindfulness, because it guides you to pay attention to you, to your thinking and your emotions and your patterns and the sensations of your body and your body language and the facial expressions that you show. They say that a lot of our patterns are locked in our body. So this process is a way to access somatic wisdom and change the patterns that are entrenched through the simple mindful awareness of, oh, this is how I do that. Yeah, and then the work teaches presence with yourself and with others. And it does that simply by making the fear that keeps us not present unnecessary and obsolete. So really, this work has the ability to rock your world, and it has the ability to turn you inside out and upside down, and into the very best version of yourself. It truly does. However, it does so in small increments. It does it in steps that are digestible and survivable, because steps that are too big can feel very, very threatening. And in the process, we discover that we have quite a lot of judgments on others, and that is why the process is called the work. The work, the one work. Last week, I interviewed for a higher position, more money, more responsibility. And in the interview, they asked me about what my biggest challenge is at work, and I said that it is watching people keep seeing the fault in other people and in the situation, right? So they see the splinter in others' eyes more clearly than the beam that is obstructing their own vision, right? Everyone knows what needs to improve and who needs to improve. But often it is not so clear how we ourselves can really create that change that we want to see. So there's a lovely story of a man, of middle age, maybe in his 40s. And so he's been working hard. He's providing well for his family, and maybe he's a woman. I don't mind, whichever you prefer. Um, and so he's at the end of the day, he keeps sitting outside of his house and he's watching the world, and he sees his children who are now teenagers, and they're struggling and they're fighting with each other and with him, and then he sees the neighbors fighting, and he sees that people are scared of each other, and maybe the political situation is really upsetting in his country right now. And and he sees all of those things and he doesn't really know what to do about it. But he's also a very devout man, and so he prays and he says, God, look at this world, look at your world, look at your people. They're lost. They don't know what to do. God, what are you doing? Where are you? What are you doing? And so day after day, he sits and he worries, and, he feels that pain of this world that is not perfect, and he prays. And then one night he has this beautiful, beautiful dream that he's in the Garden of Eden, and all the family, the animals in that garden are in chaos. They don't know how to interact with one another, and there's fear and disorder, and and then wide in the distance he sees this beautiful animal coming up, and this animal shining with an inner light, and he comes it closer and he sees it as this majestic lion. And as the lion walks through the animals, every animal falls into their place, and harmony is established in the Garden of Eden. And the man wakes up in the morning and he is reassured, feels at peace. And he says, oh, thank you, God. I knew you were there. Thank you so much. And then he starts to sit outside his house again in the afternoon, and he watches the world, and nothing changes. Nothing changes. And he waits, and he watches for the changes, and it's not happening. Nothing changes. And so he starts to begin again. God, you send me this beautiful sign. What is happening? Why aren't you doing anything? I thought you would come, and you send me this beautiful story of this lion. And then he feels a light inside him, and a voice coming with that light from inside him. And the voice says, but my son, I made you the lion. Whenever you see a job, it's yours. And so the work is a way to change our perspective so that we can take on those jobs. It changes our perspective from one of separation, feeling separate from others, not belonging to others, feeling different, feeling misunderstood, to feeling connected. Connection is like feeling part of, feeling liked and respected, and feeling important, an important part of the whole. And it changes our perspective from powerless. Powerless, I can't do anything here. It won't work anyway. And then going into, I just don't care anymore. I'm just letting it go. Powerless to empowered. Powerful. Clear, inspired, engaged, ready to act. And with that comes joy and satisfaction, right? And it changes the perspective from sinful to innocent. This is sin, this is wrong, this is unacceptable. How often do I hear people say this? This is unacceptable. And it's their fault. It's not my fault. It's their fault. Towards innocent, the perception of innocent, and that's fresh and vibrant and open and especially fearless. And we can use this work on any situation or person. Friends, enemies, family, your animals. I've done plenty of workshops on my animals, dogs and cats and horses. And, in this workshop, we'll focus on work relationships and work situations. And the process allows you to engage with what you're thinking and believing because that is what dictates your emotions and your actions. So when we're unhappy about a situation, we tend to close down. And so the work gets us to open up again and to try again and to be more clear. So the work is a very focused process. And each time you use it, it is your real life situation that gets examined. And so we don't engage with everyone should be kinder or I should have known better. We all should have compassion and love each other and respect each other. It's like, because they're pretty goals. Like, don't get me wrong. They're moral, they're ethical, they're spiritual, and more often than not, they're righteous. What we do in the work is we engage with truth. We engage with your own honest truth, no matter what others might say or think about your truth. And that takes courage and it will get results. So are you ready? So there's 4 types of reactions we generally have when we're being triggered, when we're not responding from our awakened and conscious mind. In the reaction, we either panic, and that makes us freeze, or we just feel the fear and then often we hide or we run away, flight. Or we have anger, which wants to create space. And so that works as aggression or defense. And the 4th step is confusion. So that's when you can't hear what people are actually saying to you and you kind of not quite sure what it is that you're doing there. Why am I here? Why is this for me? So to start the work, and I'm only going to take you through this one step right now. To start the work, think about who angers, frustrates, scares, or confuses you and why. So just a one-liner. I am frustrated with Paul because he doesn't respect me. Something like that. And on a scale of 1 to 10, you want to choose a situation that has a 3 to 6 of emotional involvement, not like the most stressful situation you've got in your repertoire, because that's going to really, might not have to, but it could make you fail in learning the process because it would be too threatening, or it could be too threatening. So who angers, frustrates, scares, or confuses you, and why? And so this little introduction and talk is the introduction to classes of 60 minutes every week. And these classes are going to be free because I love to share this work with others because I really, really believe it is a necessary. Eckhart Tolle actually calls it a great blessing for our planet. And I absolutely agree with this. And so in those classes, we will meet for 60 minutes. And we will start with a small exercise that will help you draw out one particular situation to work on. And then I will guide you through a series of 4 questions. that you can answer, and we will do the work together in that way. And then, we can, whoever wants to can share what's coming up for them, and so we can all learn from each other. And then in the end, at the end of the class, we will put forward some suggestions of how to use what we've learned or what we've found out in this class to act in a different way going forward. And then once you've been in a couple of classes and you're a little more grounded, we'll move into your more of your own concepts, and we can use them in breakout rooms, and we can even maybe have a session with a hot seat or two. And then after each session, I will take some time to answer questions. And then, yeah, at the end we will share action steps and commitments. So if you are feeling interested, inspired in, using a process like that to grow yourself, but also really take some steps to improve your work environment. And that doesn't even need to mean it's toxic, but maybe it just wants a little bit of improvement. And maybe that you want to use these classes to just move yourself from, oh, I should know better, or I shouldn't be so scared, or I shouldn't be, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Whatever for you should be improving or needs to improve in your work environment, you can use this process for. And so if you want to take part of this in these classes, please just drop me you can send me a message on LinkedIn or on Facebook, or you can put a message underneath this video. And if if I haven't responded to that, there's also an email address underneath the video, and just feel free to reach out and send me an email, and so then I can put you in the group that will that would be in the class together. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this was inspiring and inspires you to come back and start doing the work together.